Hello and welcome back to Tiny Table Talks. We're here every Thursday on Spotify and YouTube, so be sure to check us out. Last week, the Tiny Table Talks team discussed unpopular opinions, and while we had a lot of opinions to share, our technology wasn't as on par as it is on other weeks, so we ended up having more of a mini episode rather than a full-blown discussion. This week, we're hoping that the tech gods smile upon us and give us good internet so that we will be able to have a full and smooth discussion about friendship in honor of International Friendship Day. So pull up a chair and join us at the table while we have this discussion. Now, given that we are still taking social distancing measures, we can't be at a table and we've instead opted to record via a Zoom meeting. So here we are now, socially distanced and discussing friendships. My name is Ariana and I'm in the Zoom with 4 people.
Hi.
Hi.
I'm Maeva, and yeah, I'm back for another podcast.
Hey guys, I'm Sabrina. I'm excited to talk about today's topic.
Hello there. I'm Ben. Tall, sort of out of his mind. I feel like at this point you guys know what you're in store for. Let's do this.
Hi, I'm Chloe, back in my bathroom for the friendship episode.
So my first question for today is, who are your main group of friends?
Well, you guys, obviously.
Aww.
Oh,
That's a nice thing to say, Ben.
I've never felt so strongly for people that I see on a screen once a week.
I see you more than my friend with this weekly meeting and podcast.
Oh, yeah.
Ooh.
I truly mean that in a lot of ways because, during COVID, especially, you guys have very much been, like, the crew that I've been talking with the most and, actually able to, discuss stuff with. You know, you see other friends, but that connection isn't quite there.
For me, yeah, it's mainly you guys, because I'm really bad at keeping in touch with my friends.
Mm-hmm.
But you guys, I have to talk to you guys almost every day, I would say.
I know. How do you do it?
I know, right?
We're crazy. Did you not notice that?
I know.
Yeah.
I'm becoming a little bit crazy too.
Oh, cool. It's working.
But yeah, because I studied in France, was born and grew up there, so I have a couple of friends there, but also I have my own close friends here in Toronto, and that's it. I don't have that many other friends.
Wait, what? You're from France? I didn't know that. Whoa.
You didn't know that?
No, I'm kidding. It was
God.
It was that whole thing. What was it, 3 weeks or a month ago, maybe?
That was sarcasm level 5.
Yeah, it took me a long time before I realized actually you're from France. That wasn't my first guess.
He thought I was from China.
No, I just thought you were from Asia.
Didn't you, Ben?
It was a first guess. I probably would have got France on the, I don't know, 5th or 6th guess.
She's with the baguette and the beret.
I know, I was going to say. Where's your baguette? Where's your twiddly little mustache?
yes, she brings croissants into work.
Yeah. And not once in our entire time working together, Maeva, have you said sacré bleu? So who's
nobody says that. Even Chloe doesn't say that, I think.
Are you telling me that cartoons lied to me?
It's a really old French.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Chloe and Maeva, because of COVID and everything, has it been harder to kind of communicate with your friends in France right now? Or how was it when you even just came here from France?
Because I didn't study here and I just started working right away, it was really hard for me to make friends outside of work. So yeah, so my close friends now, actually there's only one that I met when I was an exchange student in Windsor, but then another close friend, she was my intern, but then we grew closer and now we're good friends. Because everyone is busy with their own lives, I would say. With my friends in France, sometimes I don't talk to them for several months, but it's still the same when we start talking again.
Yeah, and it must be extra annoying because these days, like if you have to join any sort of like live chat with them, I assume it would have like our time. It would have to be somewhere between like what 6 a.m. to noon, and in
Mm,
COVID times, that's like waking up in the middle of the night.
yeah.
I probably called more my friend because of COVID. I think the fact that I'm abroad, my friends are used to that because every year usually I do an internship abroad, and we don't talk that much. Like I go and I come back, nothing changed. But this year, because of COVID, I used to talk more with them. I think it's the same like for you, like your friends are in the same city, but basically you can just call them, and now it's okay. But like during the lockdown, you had to talk with them with maybe you you wanted to talk more with them because it was kind of trendy. I don't know.
Yeah, well, I assume it would have been. You might have even been a little bit like panicked and like really interested in calling them right at the beginning because France was a little bit more of an epicenter, like right at the start of COVID. So you might want to like check in on them.
Mm.
Yeah, and I know I definitely at the beginning stages of the lockdown, there was just like all this, I guess, enthusiasm. Like I think people were more actively trying to keep it up, whereas now it's died down a little bit.
Yeah,
That's
but
always what
also,
happens.
pandemic. That's old news.
like all my friends go back to work, so if they want to call, they have to go out of work, and like it's more difficult. Before everybody was at home, so it was more easy.
Because I had graduated high school last year, I'm still kind of in touch with my high school friends. We all live in the same area. It was actually really difficult maintaining contact like throughout university, and then making friends in university was also really difficult. It seems like people are just so busy like to get what they need to get done. But yeah, I feel the same because of COVID. We've been talking a lot more, but we during the summers we always hang out like tons and tons and tons. But we've kind of had to shift like all of that online. So it's been the same amount of chaotic though. Like we're up until like 5, 6 a.m. texting and calling. So yeah.
Hang on. Let me ask you one question. First year into uni, got a lot of high school friends still, obviously. What's your take on that classic statement where it's like, you still have friends from high school? That's not going to last too long. Have fun with it. What do you think? Are you going to be able to keep your high school friends?
Actually, I am that person who's like who is like kind of super pessimistic in my friend group to say like, oh, this probably isn't gonna last, blah blah blah. Because I haven't had friendships that have lasted this long, to be honest. Because we've been in a club together, which is why.
Longer than a week?
Yeah, essentially longer than a week. Like I'm just not gonna make friends. You guys are the longest friends that I've ever had. Blah 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 blah. But you know, but I'm usually the one who's saying that. My friends are the ones who's like correcting me and being like, no, that's not true. Like you just have to put in effort to be able to like see your friends and be close to your friends. Like yeah, you can grow apart, but because of shared experiences, like that's still always going to be there. You guys like, always have that to, so it's not like the friendship is going to disappear. Yeah, it might change, but yeah.
Because Ben, you're not talking to your high school friend anymore?
Oh, well, that's part of the reason why. Part of the reason I asked is that I've always been really mixed on that statement, because obviously once high school is done, it's just inevitable. You're going to lose contact with at least some people, like acquaintances or just like really interesting classmates. But then of course you have a solid amount of friends, and you think right out of graduation, it's like we're gonna be friends forever. This is fantastic. It's like the end of like a cheesy 80s high school movie. But yeah, for me personally, I stayed really, really close with my high school friends. I'd say like first year, second year, sort of going into third year. And then as time moved by a little bit more, I mean, a few different things happened. One is that like due to just the fact that you're exposed to each other a little bit less, you lose contact with little increments with some people. And then also you make new friends in university. You make you form a new group, at least in some phases. And for me, that's definitely what happened to me. I moved into a house with a couple like really close friends from my residence and from a few of my classes. And we really formed like a solid bond. We're still a pretty good friend group. But the thing is, a few of my high school friends sort of fell out of the mix, but a few of them just very strongly started fitting into that group. Like one of my best friends from high school, pretty much we all like designated him as like our unofficial like extra roommate at the house, because while he didn't live with us, he would spend, I'd say, an average of like, I don't know, like 3 to 4 days a week coming up and just like sleeping over. For half the sleepovers wound up like he was just sleeping on like the floor in my bedroom. So that was just him saying like, I'm all in, man. I want to hang out with you. I want to hang out with all you guys. So it's a really mixed bag. All I can say is that like the people you're with in your life just constantly evolves.
I have a question actually for all of you. I think because like you guys have gone through like the majority of university, or graduated. But have you ever felt like depending on what you're studying and depending on what your friends are studying, do you feel like that has caused like a rift in friendships, or not like a rift, but like you guys really can't like connect?
Oh yeah, because like you're not in the same classes anymore, or like not quite in the same classes?
Not quite in the same classes, and just program altogether and just life interests.
That can definitely affect it for sure, because then you're complaining about different things. The amount of stress and the amount of work or the kinds of work you have are different. So then it becomes much easier to connect to people you're in classes with. But then the upside of it is that depending on the people that you do befriend and depending on who you live with, then you can meet people from all kinds of different programs and have like a very like diverse like group of friends who know different things and have like different things to contribute and stuff.
Yeah, like any friendship is built upon like at least certain like common bonds, you know, like you can have people who you like can make laugh, you can have people who you're really fans with, but if you don't have like that movie or that like game or freaking like
inside joke,
or yeah, just like that. In fact, I always had a statement about like how you know you have become friends with somebody. It's two very simple ingredients. You guys need to have at least one inside joke with each other, and you need to have shared at least one good memory, like with that person. So you got those two things, you got a friend. No, it's got to be those two ingredients.
Separate.
No, it's two different things. You know, one is about saying a lot of things, like having interesting conversations. The other one is, you know, something happened, you did something, you know. Or it's like, you know, the good memory can't be like, remember that time we came out with that joke about the pandas? Yeah, that was great. No, it's got to be like, remember that time that we went streaking across the football field? Yeah, that was awesome.
It's kind of like there was like an Onion article that like just killed me. It was so funny. But it was I think it was like, man tripping doesn't realize that like, you know, his like fall has become like the basis of like a group of teens' lifelong friendship.
Oh,
and then it just like breaks down his trip and how it's become like an inside joke to like this group of people, and because of it they're like friends for life.
Yeah,
oh man, that's so interesting.
Have you guys ever seen Gravity Falls?
No.
I've heard of it.
Yeah, I've heard of it too.
Oh, Ariana, like you especially, you're like the reference queen. Anyway, no, there's this in it. There's like this group of high school friends, and in one episode, like a couple like rough instances sort of break them apart, and it's kind of the main character's fault. It's this whole thing. There's also this love god who like makes people fall in love with each other, and a burning balloon that attacks the village. It's a long story. It's a crazy show. It's very funny. I recommend it to anyone who has eyes and a brain. But the funny thing that happens in the end is that you worry like, oh no, I don't know if we can get this friend group back together. They seem really cool. But then there's this one guy in the group named Thompson, and he's just the butt of every single joke in this group. And he's like, I love these guys. They're the only people who talk to me. Like they really care about me. And then at the end, he does this like really ridiculous, silly stunt just to get attention. And pretty much the entire group of friends like come back together and laugh and just are like, Thompson's the man. And it made me like, it had a perfect message. It's like every great friend group has a Thompson, that one random as heck guy who does not have any self-respect and will go out of the way to make an amazing time for everybody else. And little do people know, it's that binding glue to keep people together through thick and
Oh, that's pretty wholesome.
mm-hmm.
Now that I think about it, I might be the Thompson of my like little high school friend group, actually.
Everyone's got a little Thompson in them. Respect your Thompsons, because they can disappear in a second. They do a very valued civil service, an underrated civil service.
So inside joke, good memory, and a Thompson.
Yeah, pretty much. Like the third one's like for groups of friends, very much so.
Do we check those off? all three of them?
I don't know, us? Yeah, I mean, there's 100 great memories that occurred on these chats and like in the office. Inside joke. I guess I did the France thing to Maeva at the beginning. And Thompson, I mean, obviously, Chloe.
Now it's Ben.
Oh man.
Although Sabrina fills in on occasion, she definitely did with our last like official meeting call.
Oh yes, I'll entertain it. If you bring something up, I will.
It's like
I
a
absorb like
Thompson.
chaotic energy. So like if somebody else is a Thompson, I'll absorb that energy. We'll go back and forth. Yeah, I
It's
love
like on a
it.
rotational basis, basically.
Yes.
Yeah.
Someone takes the mantle one week, someone else takes the next week. Are you all people who can frequently make new friends? Like, I'm not even saying like close friends, but are you more likely to try to meet new people or make new friends where you go when you're doing an activity, or are you likely to stick to the same group and to your Thompsons and all of that?
I think it was going back to like university. I felt like in the beginning, like being in a business program, everybody always tells you to network, right? They're always like network, whatever.
Film
Like,
too.
yeah. So it's like I feel like I really pushed myself to try to make friends, make a lot of friends like in my first year. And then I realized at the end of all of it, I was like being such a fake version of myself just to try to keep up with everyone because everyone has different interests and I try to like cater to their interests. And then after that, it left me like so exhausted. And I realized like, no, I'm not like the type of person to be able to make friends easily. I'm just trying to keep up with everyone, essentially.
Definitely agree, but like I always found that like, oh, if you like throw yourself out there a lot and maybe even be like a little bit of a fake version of yourself, you learn a lot about what you're not, but every so often you discover like a little nugget of yourself that you didn't realize before. You're like, oh, I actually do kind of like this passion. Oh, I do kind of like this like weird show or something like that, or this thing my friend like. It can be detrimental, but it's also like a way to explore.
That's true.
For me, I kind of push myself when I because I said before, when I go abroad, I try to make new friends. And the fact that to start the conversation is sometimes hard for me. But I try, and usually everywhere I go, I make some friends. And after I leave the country or things like that, I still keep in touch with them. But it's not like long lasting, like I text them every day. For that, I have my friends, my really group of friends.
Yeah, like your friends.
Yeah, but I'm not good with like texting or saying hi. I'm not good at it.
I feel like you have a lot of friends in that regard then, because like you travel a lot.
Yeah, and if I want to talk with them, I go like during COVID. Sometimes I was like, "Hi, how are you doing?" Because they are in different countries, so I wanted to have like kind of an overview of how it was going in different countries, and it was cool.
Keeping in touch, that is literally a skill that I need to like work on.
Yeah, me too.
Just like in general.
Touch.
Dude.
Same.
You got that like big cluster of like Facebook friends where you're like, oh yeah, I remember like actually talking with these people like 3 years ago.
But like my father is the kind of person, he have like he doesn't have Facebook, but he have this list with all the birthday of the people, and when it's gonna be the birthday, he's gonna call or send a message. It's really good to keep in touch. But me, I'm not good at calling, so I'm like, oh, happy birthday.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
for birthdays, I'm either wishing everyone a happy birthday or no one a happy birthday. That's how I keep it even.
Yeah, if there's one thing I always kind of liked is that like whether you get these like on Facebook or you get messages or anything like that, I always feel like on your birthday you always get a lot of like great wishes from friends. But there's always that like those like one or two people you're like, wow, I'm surprised you gave me a birthday wish. We've spoken like 4 times in the last like 5 years. Like that's like, thank you. And you wonder if like, oh, did they just like sort of notice it and throw a quick message, or did they actually kind of want to like be a little bit more of your friend than you realized?
Ooh, what's more shocking? Someone who you didn't think would ever message you on your birthday reaching out and messaging you, or someone you thought you knew really well just going HBD?
Don't send me HBD.
Yeah, go on. Put a little bit more energy in those fingers.
Oh, yeah. I always have at least the message, the like strength to do like happy birthday, bro.
Yeah.
Even
at
the
least.
girls.
Exclamation point, happy face. The
An
full
emoji.
word.
Oh no, that's what
Yeah.
no, that's safe. That's reserved for best friends.
And given that, like, again, we're talking about birthdays, walls, like social media and stuff like that, what's our takes and opinions on things like FOMO and like how that kind of goes into friendship?
Wait, on what?
FOMO, so
FOMO.
fear of missing out.
Ah.
You never heard of FOMO?
No,
Yeah.
I've heard
Oh,
a bit
wait.
of it. But like that's literally like that could literally be you just gave me the new title of my autobiography.
Oh no.
Because I think in recent years, I feel like it's become such like a cultural thing, especially when you have people like if your friends invite you to something and you can't go, then guaranteed you're still gonna see postings of like the said event. Or I mean, if in a worst case scenario, you're not invited at all, and then you find out because you see the event unfold on social media.
I think there is one thing that like I absolutely hated that is avoidable now because of COVID though, is when people make plans in front of you and they don't like reach out to invite you. I'm like, you could really plan like anywhere else, like not like the full plan, like right in front of me, just dishing out all these cool things that you guys are gonna do. I'm just like, yeah, that's cool.
Do you ever like try to be like, oh, I might be available for that too, or are you just kind of like?
No, I don't think I would. I don't think that I feel too comfortable like doing that. But the one way I've avoided it with social media is I deleted my account like out of nowhere. And then essentially only the people who were really close to me added me back. And then from then on, like anything I was going to do, I did with like that group of friends. So it definitely reduced like the feeling of FOMO by like a lot.
I kind of feel that too, where it's like I've never deleted my account before, but sometimes I'll host some kind of like event, like a party. Oh, remember those good old days where you can actually invite people over? Anyway, sorry. So yeah, I'd invite as many people who like I truly cared about, and I figured either like I'm already close friends with these people, or I want to like put in the extra effort to become better friends with them. I'll send out invites like way ahead of time. And I'll even like check in with a lot of people beforehand. It's like, hey, are you able to make this? And some will say like no, or some will just not respond. And pretty much whoever winds up showing up or like goes to like that kind of extent to say like, oh, I really can't make it tonight. Really sorry, but whatever. Like, sorry about that. Then I realized, okay, these are the people who actually like care when I put something together. They care about actually spending time with me and with my other friends. And then the people who pretty much give me no response whatsoever, when you like clearly are when someone is clearly like putting themselves out there for you, like you realize, okay, those are the people who I'm going to try a little bit less with. Not give up on, but try a little bit less.
I think the opposite of FOMO probably with social media and all that would probably be more so reconnecting. Do you guys have any instances of reconnecting with someone you haven't talked to in a long time because of social media? I know a few of you had some reconnecting moments because of COVID, but has there been anything just like overall, like pre-COVID?
Oh, I think honestly, like I was ready to like, I saw this question. I was ready to say like, I don't think reconnecting is like very easy on social media. But then I thought a little bit more about it. And honestly, reconnecting is just like actually a really just nice thing that happens on social media all the time. And it can come about from like either like really good like backgrounds or even kind of like rough backgrounds, like based on how you've initially lost touch with that. There was one instance where I befriended a really cool guy at I went to improv camp a couple of summers during high school. Yeah, I was one of those guys.
Not surprised.
That sounds so cool. I would want to attend an improv camp.
Oh, it did. Oh, honestly, yeah, it was fantastic. It was Second City Improv Camp downtown. Fantastic. Recommended to anyone like high school level or lower. Yeah, and like it's one of those, like, have you guys ever had one of those camps or just like week-long places where like you somehow become like best friends with like 8 new people, but then it's just that week? It's like 1 week of intense friendship that just fizzles out immediately after. That happened every single year at Second City. Like I'm a hell of a weirdo everywhere except for when I walk into the doors of that improv camp. Right in there, I'm the dude. And then the last year I was there, I made a lot of good friends. There was one guy who like I was really good friends with. Don't know if I should use his real name, so I'm just gonna call him Michelangelo. So me and Michelangelo were really good friends. We had a lot in common. We even kind of looked the same. We were both like lanky and tall, and that was pretty much it. We sort of gave each other's numbers, but then fell out of contact. And I was like, damn it, that sucks, because he was really, really cool. And something along the lines of either 3 or 4 years go by. I'm starting to work on like this little like side project where I'm trying to like design a little like mini company. And I'm like, oh man, I want to design a logo or something like that. who do I know is actually good at being an artist for a logo? And then I think back to Michelangelo, and I was like, oh, this is super cool. Because it was like, oh, I could like reconnect with this person, but also like have like a general purpose. Because it's always really weird trying to reconnect with someone by just going like, hey, how's it going? It's always nice to like hop in there with like, hey, do you know anything about this? Cool. So yeah, we started messaging each other, and yeah, from there, like I invited him to a few hangouts. He invited me to a few of his hangouts, and in no way are we like best friends now, but like he's one of those cool, like you see him like 3 or 4 times a year kind of friends. And it just was really cool. It wouldn't have been able to happen if it wasn't for like reconnecting on social media.
Do you guys always feel like how to approach like reconnecting? Because I can never do it.
So I think a weirdly organic way that some reconnections have been happening, at least in my personal experience, have been like reacting to stories, like on Instagram.
Mm-hmm, for sure.
Either I'll see someone's story that I'm like, oh my god, this is really funny, or oh, preach, like they're saying something really like meaningful, and like I will react to it or just like comment or something. That usually, like, it's not even with the goal of like forging a full reconnection, but then that usually like tends to end up happening. And I feel like I've reconnected with a handful of people that I was friendly with in high school. Like we weren't like friends, but like that's happened a lot of times. And then like because of that, especially now during COVID, where you know a lot of the times you are in the house, you're not seeing your usual amount of people.
Yeah,
I feel like definitely. But through stories, it's been so much easier to like contact people. But I feel like sometimes it definitely does feel like a little bit of a chore, just like reconnecting and like trying to stay in touch. I know it sounds so bad to say, but especially if you're not close to the people, because you have to really like go through everybody's stories and feel like it's the right time and like try to reconnect.
Don't overthink it. It's just like either this person's going to respond and something's gonna like brew out of it, or it'll just fizzle out. And guess what? You'll be in the same place with the person as you were just before you reconnected.
Honestly, that's a really good way to see that, because I'm really pessimistic. So
like I had a friend from high school and we didn't talk like for 6 years now. Just once I met her, hello. And she posted something on her story, and I think I never saw any story of her. And I just like commented, and we started talking, and we said that she asked me if we wanted to hang out when I come back. And when I commented the story at the beginning, it was just to say like happy birthday. And at the end, it finished by a meeting. So you have nothing to lose.
Yeah.
Like if the person say no, like it was not a good friend or something like that.
I still feel like social media is a great option to do it, but in no way is it like the only way to do it either. Like there's, you know, in a lot of ways, if you have maybe a sort of long lost acquaintance or long lost like minor friend, it's always fun to sort of try and reconnect with them on social media. But I always feel like if you have a really strong friend, that's when you got to go that extra mile. That's when you got to, you know, really, you got to try calling them up. You got to try like going over to wherever they're at and just try and set things up. You got to set up like solid hangouts because they deserve it, because they're really like, if they're really important to you, then you're going to go that extra mile.
So how have your longer lasting friendships changed from when they first began to now?
When it comes to long-term relationships, it really depends on like where you want to draw the line on it. Like I have friends who like I've been kind of out of touch with in like recent times, who like I've known almost my entire life. Then I have friends who I am still like very rarely, like I said, you know, like you see them like 2 or 3 times a year, who I've also known like almost since the beginning of elementary school. But if you're talking about like really solid, like I still see them all the time, we're still in like constant conversation, we're like BFF, FFFFs kind of thing, then like it would probably be some people that I've known since like the beginning of high school.
So like how have your friendships with them evolved to now?
Yeah. Well, if you're talking about those guys, I don't know. It's kind of I hate to say like it's always like mixed, but like yeah, the reaction's always kind of mixed, because in a lot of ways, obviously, like both of you have changed a lot. But the sort of the reasons you rely on each other, the reasons like you go to each other for advice, the reasons you like find each other funny or entertaining, really don't change that much. Like yeah, like I still like one of my absolute best friends still, who was also like the unofficial roommate kind of dude I was talking about. like we still have inside jokes with each other that we made in like 9th or 10th grade. And that's still like, like the finite like foundation of our friendship.
Mhm.
So I'd say for the most part, like they've remained pretty constant. But of course, then the other aspect of just maintaining like a really long-term friendship is that, when a certain aspect of that other person changes, or they're like, I don't really love this anymore, I'm not exactly interested in this anymore, you got to learn to accept it, and you got to learn to almost feed it into your friendship currently.
So my core friend group that I like communicate with the most frequently and do the most things with, they're all a mixture of like friends that I met in high school and friends that I've met in elementary school. So like one of them I've literally known since we were 6 years old, and I am pretty confident that like we're gonna know each other forever. Like it's been, oh my god, it's been almost it's been almost 20 years of like friendship, which is kind of insane. And like through that we've had like obviously like varying degrees of closeness depending on like what we were doing, like where we were. Like we ended up going to the same elementary school, high school, and university together.
What about middle school?
Oh no, we did. So the elementary school I went to was like JK to grade 8. So yeah, I never had a true middle school experience.
Oh well,
If
you're
I
not
talk-
missing much. Diary of a Wimpy
for-
Kid paints it pretty damn accurately.
That's true. So what about the rest of you in regards to any like long lasting friends? Have you had any kind of like friendship evolutions with them? Have things remained the same?
I've never had a friend for as long as 7 years. I've never had a friend.
Yeah,
there was
I've
other
never
jokes.
I don't have friends. What are you talking about? They're
What
just the
are
voices
these
in my head. I don't know.
They keep
No.
me. My stuff
It
No.
doesn't exist.
Yeah, no, but I think the longest friendship I have had up till now that I'm like still super close with them, we haven't like lost touch with, is probably 3 years. So in compared to your like either 7 years or 20 years, it's like very a small amount of time, very small.
Hey, but
Yeah.
it can be quality over quantity. Like, who knows? Obviously, I think Ben and I both have very good friends, but I'm just saying it doesn't matter how long it is. It just literally matters like what's you've been doing in that time.
Yeah. Have you guys ever had like a friend who like really changed, like really like evolved over like a lot of time?
Yes.
You mean
Yeah.
in a bad way?
Oh no! Just like truly, it was like a huge.
They got into
huge,
like they
change
got into
around.
a pyramid scheme,
Yeah.
and they're just trying to recruit all of
Yeah.
you guys.
Hey,
No, no.
sweetie, it's been a
I'm
long
talking-
time.
Talking about those people who like maybe like 5 or 6 years ago were like really like fun and active and like all over the place, and then one day they're just in like goth mode or something crazy like that.
Yeah.
Like just like all black tattoos.
That's like the
heavy metal.
the meme with I think it was like Marilyn Manson and like a rapper, someone who's just like radically different from him, but they're posed for a photo together, and the meme was like, when you and your childhood friend have like taken different paths, but you still f- with each other.
Oh yeah.
Mm.
Oh yeah.
And it's just like them
actually have
together.
part of the reason I thought of that is that I didn't realize this. I actually have a pretty solid answer for that. Where one of my best like childhood friends, who I still see pretty often, was this like really funny, crazy, like upbeat kid that didn't really stand out too much. It was just kind of wacky. Was very much the Thompson in a lot of friend groups I had. And then starting in high school, he went like full blown hippie. I'm serious. Like every and it's okay to say, like even he sort of admits it. Like every stereotype you can think of, he's got the long hair. He's a huge fan, like classic rock and roll. Very environmentally conscious. He's actually like pushed me into like a lot of things before. And he is a very good friend by the names of Mary Jane, if I might say that. Oh, and he's like literally in the process of trying to buy an old Volkswagen van. It's like
Oh.
it's like everything,
Super
checking
cool.
off of everything.
Literally.
Interesting.
I won't name him, but if somehow you're watching this, dude, I love you though. Still, like we're still like our dynamic hasn't changed at all because we're just still both wacky, weird dudes.
I might be the one in my friend group actually that changes the most, or like in most regards, I feel like different areas of my life I've just been like so different. So the next time you guys like contact me, like if I you know, if we like all move on from Canada, create, but get in touch, somehow I might be like a completely different person. You guys are just gonna be like, what?
You're like a different wig.
Just a different wig each and every time.
Yeah, like 8 different colors, maybe.
No, but I think people from elementary school would probably think of me as the last person to shave my head. So that's something already in itself.
Mhm.
So yeah.
Okay, so I don't have any high school friends, I would say, because we are all lost touch. But two of my friends that I met in grade 6, we still talk. And what I noticed is that we kind of grew up together. Like we kind of witnessed our own first heartbreak, our own like moving on, our own first like job experience and stuff like that. So it's like just witnessing just like a little baby evolving, or like a little Pokemon evolving, kind of.
Kind of. Ben's like,
Yeah,
no.
baby's not realistic enough. Pokemon.
Sorry.
Ben's like, no.
I do not appreciate your analogy.
At first, that sounded like a coming of age story, like a really beautiful story, until you mentioned Pokemon. I was like, oh,
Love it.
I'm really sorry, guys, but I really have to sign off right now. Last note I wanted to make on friendship personally is if anyone were to ask me, like, what are the good qualities of a friendship in any way, it's very simple, 4 words. Friendship is being there. And what that means is if you have someone really important you care about, if you have anyone out there who, like, you want to spend time with, you want to be there, who you feel like adds a lot of value to your life, put in the effort to add value into their lives. If they're having some kind of stupid show, go do it. If they have some kind of silly hangout that you think might be lame or kind of awkward, go. If they're having a tough weekend, if like some bad stuff has been going on, invite them out. Be there. Because that is how you build up any strong relationship, because actions always speak louder than words. Is it going to be inconvenient for you? Is it going to be tough for you? Is it going to be a difficult time that's going to inconvenience you? It doesn't matter. Be there. See you later.
bye bye.
See you. Good luck.
Bye.
Good luck.
My most long-lasting friendship relation, it's from kindergarten. Like we met when we were like 4 or 5, and we still hang out together. But during these 20 years, we took different paths, and we never really broke this relationship. But there's moments where we didn't talk because we had different interests, but we still went back together. And and I think more you evolve, more your friends will be adapted to the vision of life you have. And the fact that after high school, as Sabrina was saying, like you get into something you're more specialized, you will maybe be more with people that have the same vision of life than you. Maybe this is why, like, my best friend now, I met them like the year after high school. Maybe because we studied the same thing and we were into the same atmosphere. Even if now we completely took different paths, we still like the group of friends. Yeah.
That's like a good point though. In regards to, like, especially when you do have like friends that you've been friends with over the years, they see all the changes you go through, but then when you meet new people at different stages of your lives, like your old friends versus like your newer friends might like see you in like different ways.
Yeah, sometimes I'm not the same with people.
Yeah.
It's not that I change. I don't adapt my personality. It's really like something natural. I know more like funny with some people, more serious with others. And it's funny because when you talk to people, they are very different vision of me sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Like sometimes they think, oh, Chloe, she's very shy and everything. And the other one, they are, but not at all. She's crazy.
Chloe's insane.
I totally understand that. Yeah, having like people view you in different ways, because when you think the way that you develop with the certain people too is really interesting, because like your dynamic with them changes you in a certain way, and that's really cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I guess at your best, it makes them very understanding of like the stuff you've been through and like all your experiences. But at the worst, you can have some friends that might think you're one way despite maybe like changing.
Yeah.
So I think there's definitely like pros and cons to that, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
And then just in general for like long friendships, there is that one. It's supposedly from a study, and it's like if you've been friends for 7 years or more, then you're friends for life. Do you guys believe in that at all?
Not necessarily,
How come?
because I've been friend with this girl for a long time, but then when we kind of graduated from from university, she kind of changed in a way, and we started like drifting apart, and now we don't really talk to each other. So I think the 7 years of friendship means all like friends for life isn't real, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes. Yeah.
I actually, that made me remember a similar experience that I've had too, except it wasn't the other person that changed. I think it became me who like understood like what our friendship was and what it meant to me, because I felt like it just didn't seem natural, that kind of thing. It's like, yeah, we talked for 7 years because like you know, they keep asking you to talk and they keep asking you to hang out, but then you think about it like really, and it's like, oh, it doesn't seem like this person really intends to keep me there just to be my friend. It feels like this person just wants to keep me around because it's convenient or something like that. And then after that realization, I'm like, I don't necessarily want to continue being friends with that person, if that makes sense.
That's fair. It's like how some people realize they have like friends they party with, but then like the second, like they'll be friends and they'll have fun like, you know, late into the night, but then the next morning it's like, is that someone they want to grab breakfast with?
I read somewhere that it works also like for couples. Like there is different year of your relationship that are like I don't like after 3 years old, after 7 years old, or after 14 years old. These are three main year where something big is gonna happen during the relationship apparently. And this is where I discovered this 7 years relationship. Like if you broke up your relationship, whether it's friendship or love, in 7 years, it's break up for good. Because my friend, she got divorced after 7 years, and she told me these rules like, yeah, it was the 7 years. This
Like
is why
a
it
7-year
happened.
curse kind of
Yeah,
thing.
the curse, exactly.
Oh man, that's so interesting.
Yeah.
But it's so interesting that I feel like the topic like is about friendship, but when it comes to these things, a lot of this talk has like moved towards like self-growth actually, whether it be like you or the other person, and that how that like changes the dynamic of the friendship.
Do you think a friendship breakup is harder or a romantic breakup, and why?
I never
Friendship.
broke up, rather with
Go ahead.
friends or lover.
Never?
I just stopped talking to them.
Fair. Yeah. I'm on the same boat. Like it's never been like an official it's over. It's either like drift away or like yeah, you just stop.
Yeah.
Because I feel like with romantic relationships, at least personally, there is an expectation where it's either like a breakup or you get married kind of thing. But with friendship, breakups were not like, at least when I was growing up, like the breakup element of a friendship wasn't discussed as much as a romantic one. So I felt like when I had moments where I realized like there were people I couldn't be friends with anymore, it felt a lot more difficult to get over because, you know, that it never occurred to me that could be a thing until it happened to me.
In my opinion, it's like, oh, if you break up with your boyfriend or girlfriend, for example, right? So you gotta have this emotional support from your friends, and they will be there for you in a way. But if there's like this friend breakup, and you know they can know your deepest secrets, or maybe they can be they can be friends with your other friends. So sometimes sometimes some people can be like, I want this other friend to agree with me and just like stop talking to you in a way. And that's kind of toxic, I would say.
It's really detrimental when it comes to like a friend group. As like I think this would apply also like if your significant other was like in your friend group as well. But like it's so messy when you and a friend break up or like in break up because it really tears the whole group apart. And from then on, even after you repair the friendship, it's never going to be the same.
Or as sad as it is, like one person ends up out of the friend group and the other person stays in.
Yeah, I've seen a
Depending.
lot of those situations, and it's really painful to see that kind of thing.
Yeah, it's like a different kind of grief too. And then when things overlap, with like if a romantic partner is also in the friend group, and that's just like a whole other thing as well.
I
Yes.
remember of a friendship breakup,
Oh,
and I was 6 years old.
oh no!
Like it was my best friend, and she was like, "Oh, Chloe, this year we are not going to be in the same class, so I think we should not be friends anymore." So she broke up like that, and I was so sad. And I remember, and I was 6, and I still remember.
Oh
my
no!
I mean, yeah, that's so harsh and so. There wasn't even like we'll try to see each other after school or in recess. It was like, nope.
Just like, no, I don't have time for you anymore. I'm
6
moving
years
on, making
old.
new friends.
Did you at least make better friends in your new class?
Yeah,
That's good, at least.
I survived.
You survived.
Survived it.
I remember during the lunch break, the same day, like the girl that became my other best friend, she came and she asked like, "Oh, apparently you are not friend with this girl anymore. Do you want to be my friend?" And then
Oh,
Oh, that's really sweet.
What qualities do you have that you think make you a good friend, and what qualities do you still like want to try and work on?
I think I'm like decent company because like at my best, I'm quite entertaining. At my worst, I might just be a little bit annoying. But like I'll never do something like that detrimental. So I feel like I'm quite like empathetic. Like I'm sensitive to like other people's needs.
Mm-hmm.
That's something, maybe.
Yeah, I would like to stay more like in touch, as you said before, because even with my closest friend, we have like this WhatsApp group, and I'm the only one. Like sometimes I show and I put an emoji, but I'm not that into the conversation. I'm not into any conversation. Like I'm like, okay, when there is a question, that's it.
Yeah. Oh, I feel I can be such garbage at keeping in touch with my friends, or like just like if we have a big group chat for a trip, like I'm not gonna lie, I'll usually get like overwhelmed by the organizing. So I'll be like, okay, here's like a little thing, but then I usually will stay away from it until like everything's kind of built and established, which is terrible, but I'm trying to get better at that. Or when my friends like move away and like go somewhere for a while, like I'm not as on top of checking in on them as I should be. For sure. But when I'm with them, like I try to go out of my way to make sure we're doing like fun activities or, and I think in a way to make up for not being in touch.
To balance.
Yeah.
I think, in my opinion, people do like to hang out with me because I'm not the type of judging someone. If something happens to you, for example, I will try to understand why you reacted this way. I would, and and that can be good, but also bad, and something that I'm trying to work on is that sometimes I'm super rational when the person wants me to be more
Emotional.
emotional, but sometimes I'm really rational. I'm like, but like you have to understand the other person, why, like that kind of stuff. And also another thing that I need to work on is that I really need to keep in touch with people. Because
still have to work on that.
Yeah, because like I feel bad, but in most group chats with like my friends, and if I receive a lot of like messages, I tend to mute the conversation.
Oh.
Yeah. It doesn't mean I don't like you. I will eventually read everything, but it just at the moment I don't like to see a lot of notifications on my phone, so that's why I'm muting the conversation.
Oh,
Yeah, I
that's fun.
turn off all the notification,
Yeah.
especially because in my WhatsApp group class,
Mhm.
they are talking all the time, and like to say one thing, they're gonna say 100, well, and it's okay. They send like sometime I go out of work and I have like 300 messages, and I'm gonna read all of them
No.
to check if I didn't miss anything, but I don't care. And it was becoming very like stressful, like all this notification all the time.
Mhm.
So I turn off every notification.
And that wraps up today's discussion about friendship in honor of International Friendship Day. We are on Spotify and YouTube and Instagram at the CC Zone, so follow us if you haven't yet. And tune in next week when we talk about books. Thank you so much for listening, and we will talk to you next week. Bye.
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 Bye.